Do you have any specific tip for people who are in that situation, for example, and they realize, okay, they're expecting something from me, but when I asked, they didn't give much feedback. Like, how can they go about trying to find the information that they need, probably from the professor themselves and not just the internet? Is there any kind of tip that you have for that?
This one is difficult because it really depends on why they're not getting the feedback.
Mm.
Most of the time, the professor just doesn't realize that they're not being helpful.
Mm.
So a lot of students have an expectation that the professor knows what they're doing and knows how to give feedback. And so communication breaks down. So I would say the first port of call is to be really, really specific with the professor about what you need and why the feedback isn't working for you.
Mm.
So asking for more specifics, like asking very precise questions, saying, can I have the answer to this within X amount of days to meet my
Mm.
deadline? So like really stating what you need and why you
Mm.
need it can help. Because if it's just that the professor doesn't understand what you need, then that's problem sorted.
Mm.
Then you have some professors who are not giving it because they think you should struggle, and that's the only way to prove what you're doing. That's a more difficult situation. A short-term, not great solution, but that sometimes helps is to go and look at the work of any students that have graduated from that professor's program within the last kind of 6 months to a year. That should
Yeah.
give you a gauge that you can compare. Okay, they passed this work, so it's probably close to what they're looking for, but that's not brilliant either. You may end up in a confrontational situation then, because I think you do have to advocate for your right to have decent feedback on your work. And if you
Mm.
are getting a blunt refusal from your supervisor, that might be time to escalate that to a program director or to an ombudsman. Sometimes you do end up in that situation where the professor simply isn't going to be helpful, and that
Mm.
is something you have a right to. So then it comes down to what are you willing to fight for?
That makes sense. I think that's very helpful for people who are in that situation to have this idea of it could be this, it could be that. So let's first try this. And if it's not this, then let's patch it up another way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, don't jump immediately to the conclusion that you
No.
just a supervisor who hates you. But if you do try everything else and you're not making any progress, then it's worth. And it is worth speaking up because sometimes you just have a lazy professor and a little bit of pushback will get you what you need because it's less effort for them to give you what you need than to fight with you. And then sometimes even that won't work, but making a complaint will get you a new supervisor, or there will be someone somewhere in your institution, hopefully, who wants you to succeed. And it's a case of, working through until you find that person.